Hey, this is Chuck Hogan with Your Best Life, and welcome to the Spanglish World Network on Zingo TV, channels 250 and 251. Please remember to download both the Zingo app on your TV, respective app stores, and iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure to go ahead and leave a comment. The app's completely free. Zingo TV is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire and Fire TV Sticks, and Roku Sticks, and all smart TVs 2016 forward. So thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm uber excited to start off 2024 with a bang. And, oftentimes you get to introduce people that mean a lot to you. This man is absolutely my brother from another. You can't tell, the similarities. I'm a lighter shade of tan, but I'm aspiring to be the dark, deep mocha color of my friend Harry Singha. Not only in, I'll say, his aesthetic and appearance, but in his heart, his integrity. And this man, if you ever have a chance, just Google Harry Singha. And in fact, I would put Harry Singha World Changer, because that's who he is. This man is a world influencer. He is an expert speaker on stage, teaching other people how to deliver their stories, their messages, and to share their lives and their distinctions. He is a youth leader, and I'll just say of international acclaim. He travels all over the world helping foster people to grow beyond any life conditions, where he's taken people's worst days and helped them to understand how they could be their best days. Today, Harry's going to walk us through and help us understand even more that how our heart set actually helps us set our mindset. Because as we're entering into 2024 with all these crazy things that are happening out in the universe right now, we need some moral compass. We need some way of being able to feel more full and connected to ourselves. So please give it up for the one, the only, my brother from across the pond at dark 30 in the early morning in the UK, Harry Singha. I love you, brother. Thank you for being here.
That's got to be a first. I don't think I've ever been introduced with mocha color skin or whatever it was, but I love it. So yeah, it's all true. It's all good.
I figure we're on this platform and we've got, high def color. Let's bring it to the table. It's interesting, Harry, because I know when you and I have these amazing conversations off camera, I mean, it's like every single time we connect, it just warms my heart. And the last conversation we had, you went really in depth. In fact, you went really in depth with our YBL community, Your Best Life, about who's showing up. Like, and where's your time and energy? Where's your reticular activating system being, honed and focused to? So this concept of mindset, share a little bit of your ideologies around mindset by comparison to heart set. But let's start with mindset first, because I think that's the one that most people understand and identify most clearly with.
Yeah. This is interesting. Chuck, you're one of the few people that have ever mentioned the conversation of heart set and mindset together, right? Because mindset, in its most simplest form, when I think of the word mindset, I think more of like a mindset shift, like it's meaning your mind is operating a certain way based on certain thoughts and beliefs, right? So when we relate mindset in terms of finances, we go, we have a sort of a mindset on money and finance and all the rest of it, and we're looking at making a shift, right? But we can have that same mindset about relationships. We can have the same mindset about health. We can have, so what it is it's your thoughts and feelings and beliefs about something. That's what I think about mindset. But the fact that it's called mindset in relation to that, it's cognitive.
Yes.
It's something we think about consciously and subconsciously, right? So that's the idea is, the whole word subconscious, Chuck, it's like a subconscious gives us this impression like you don't control it. Like it's just there, right? But I'd like it to be more looked at, it's what we think consciously, and then we thought it so often it becomes habitual, right? So therefore, it's the stuff we know that we don't know. Like it's gone, right? It's just autopilot. But it's not that. It's just the habit. So there's some thought patterns and beliefs you have that become habitual. Those are our mindset. So it doesn't mean it's fixed. It's fixed until you change it. So sometimes when someone comes to us and go, hey, I want to be a speaker and I want to earn income, I'm like, okay, you need to shift some mindsets about income and who your ideal clients are and how you behave. And that's cool. So when we think cognitive, mindset. But then you coined it nicely when you say heart set. And heart set, it's like you could tell, like if we talk about that, we'll be here forever. But the thing on heart set is, I think it's beyond our consciousness.
Yes.
Where it links further to, and it's, see, if you noticed how I'm using my hands, it's like beyond, but then it's also deeper. Right?
Yep.
So beyond this way and beyond that way. And if you can, like you say, if you can balance the two in terms of, right, you need some mindset to get on and do things and shift and make those changes. But I think heart set, when you talk about compass and moral compass, you threw some amazing terms in, Chuck, and it's like, that heart set is your compass, but it's like, well, where have people set their compass? So that would be what comes up in my mind as soon as you mention heart set, mindset. And then right now, I'm absolutely driven about making sure people give some time and thought to reset their heart set, right? Because it's always there. It's just like we've forgotten it. But yeah, wherever you want to take that conversation, we go with it, Jeff.
And I love it. It's one of those scenarios where when you just said that, I was like, there are a lot of people who are starving, like they're dehydrated. They are at thirst for having a full heart. And yet they're building all these mindset models around a very limited scope of who they really are. My hallucination is that heart set is who you are. It's your why. It's your purpose, your sense of purpose and existence, to your point. And when people go subconscious, I go, well, there are other people that take it to another level. They go, I'm an unconscious. And I go, whoa, wait, so you're doing it without any use of your cognitive ability, your consciousness? Mm-hmm. I go, what if consciousness was just awareness? Yeah. Oh, well, I'm aware of how I feel. And I go, well, that's heart set. Because everything we do consciously is so we can feel a certain way. Yeah. And so I had someone who, kind of called me out and they go, oh, that's that woo-woo stuff, Chuck. And I go, well, not really. They go, okay, give me an example. I said, well, John, why do you work so hard? He goes, man, I work hard to make the money. I work hard to be a provider. I work hard to get respect. I work hard to create value and to create remuneration and prosperity. And I go, great. How does that make you feel? He goes, how do you think? I said, I don't know. I'm asking you. He goes, elated, ecstatic, happy, overjoyed, valuable. And I go, oh. So does that feed or hurt your mindset? He goes, oh, it feeds. Oh. He goes, I see what you did. I go, no, I'm just asking you because when you have a strong enough purpose and why, and it makes you feel great, you rattled off like 15, 20 different ways to feel great. I'm not chastising you. I'm agreeing with you. And he goes, yeah, but that's because I had the right mindset. And I said, yes. So chicken and the egg and chicken, which one came first? It's when to your point, balance, and I'll even use I'll say maybe even more of a woo-woo term, harmony. When we're looking for that synergy and harmony between our mindset and heart set. And I go, because the more I feel empowered, the more I feel full. And when this is full, my capacity to be able to give and participate is off the charts. I can have the most driven mindset in the world, but if my heart set is shallow, some people call that struggle. Some people call that,
that's because the moment you said struggle,
yeah, I saw it in your face.
I had a different word in my head, especially for you guys on that side of the pond, right? You have that word hustle, right? Hustle. And hustle, especially like Brits, hustle's means hard work. It's not something we want to do. I get it consciously what it means. It's like, let's put in the effort. Let's go, right? But hustle, when you talk about hard work, this is the difference, right? That I believe that a lot of the population now and humanity is being conditioned into that consciousness of achievement and doing. And it's like becoming great at something. To be great, you've got to push, you've got to keep going, you've got to hustle. And people are getting very tired and they're getting very burnt. And they're, to other people, it's like, wow, you're flying, you're super successful, guy. You're doing this, and then you chat with them and go, how are you? They're like, I'm exhausted.
Oh,
Hey, like I can't take my eye off the ball. And I'm not just talking like super successful entrepreneurs or like this. It's like there are people on the street, right, who going, I gotta serve my family, I gotta feed my family, and like, or I'm like gang leader. And it's like I have these guys that tell me it's hard work being a gang leader because they're constantly worried what's going on. So they're constantly, and here's the key word, having to do something.
yes.
This is the bit about, for me, when I coined this phrase, doing good, doing great. And what it was about, we're all conditioned to do great. And if you're not doing great, like even the book, like we Jim calling Good to Great, the first line in the book is good is the enemy of great. And we know what that means.
Yes.
In our world of standards and achievement, good is this standard here. It's better than poor, right? But it's good. And then you got this standard, and then you got this standard, right? And what they're saying is, if you just operate on a good standard, then that's not really cool, because you want to be on a great standard, or like the Tony Robbins, like outstanding standard, right? Or excellent, or whatever people want to call it. But here's what's happened. I believe that we might have been conditioned into having this conflict between good and great is better than good.
Right.
And then what we've done is we've forgotten that it's not just about good, the standard, the word good and doing good. My message is doing good is not the enemy of doing great.
That's
It's
right.
what you just said. It's like, it's the base, it's the foundation, it's the content, it's the constant, it's the compass. And I see so many people where we have so many people in the world that are doing good things,
Mhm.
but life is not great. Like in your language, they're not living their best life. They're doing good, but there are people doing good and they're also having a great life or a business and so on with it. And then on the flip side, you've got people who are doing really great according to other people, but they're not really doing any good and they're really feeling empty, right? And it's like one is about achievement, one is about fulfillment. But here's the thing, does it have to be a battle between achievement and fulfillment? And this is the other word I remember when I was sharing it with you earlier about fulfill achievement, right? So fulfill achievement is another word of saying that doing good and doing great. But when people said to me, like, let's talk about doing good. And, I could talk for hours on doing good, but the best way to describe it, meaning its nature, is that all of us, when we see a young child, reach out, just step out into somewhere and pick up some litter. No one's told them to do it. They pick up the litter and they throw it in the trash can. And no one said anything to them. And you and I look at them and other people, what would we call that young child? If it was a young boy, we'd say, it's a good boy. That's a good boy.
Yes.
What do we mean by good boy? That the behavior, that was doing good. And then I spent a lot of time studying and researching how do we unpack what doing good is, because people think doing good, and even the word do gooder, Chuck, it's a negative connotation. Our politicians are using it, trying to scrap like human rights law. It's like, oh, the do-gooders, the do-gooders. I'm like, hey, I'm a gooder. I do good. And you're calling me a do-gooder. Oh, sorry, is that not a good thing? So we're getting conditioned with do-gooders.
Yes.
Like as if it's a look at me and look at what I'm doing. But I would love your viewers and everybody to really get to grips with when that child was doing good because no one else told them, it was in their nature.
Yes.
And then life comes along and conditioning and programming and media and everybody else comes along and says, yeah, you're doing good's all right, but hey, you really want to make it, dude? You need to do great, right? You need to do this at the expense of doing good. And depending on how deep you want to take it, I really think that mindset sometimes comes around values.
Yes.
And mindset comes down to virtues. And that was when I created the acronym around the doing good. It depends on how long we got and how long you want to go in.
I love this. I was reminded of a story about Mike Tyson, the boxer Mike Tyson, and they did an interview with him, and they said, Mike, after you got out of prison, He goes, how does it feel to be the greatest of all time? To your point, because he was known as being not good, the greatest, the GOAT of all time.
That's it.
And his response was, he goes, being great was easy. Being great was in my nature.
Yeah.
Being great, Gus saw something in me, D'Amato, and it helped craft me to be this tool, this representation of what was already great inside of me. It was my nature. He goes, you know what I struggle with? To be a good man.
That's it. That's it. And this is the thing, what we were talking about earlier. Doing good doesn't require a lot of work. It doesn't require any more to add into your to-do list.
That's right.
And so we'll definitely cover it in the episode. But as you were speaking there, it's like like you talk about Mike Tyson doing good, doing great. I have people approach me and they're like, hey, I want to be the number one speaker in my market. I want to dominate this market. I want to be the number one events company in my continent. And they come to me because that's what I help people to do. But I turn around and I remember a recent event. There was a guy, I was checking him out. And I was like, yeah, will I work with him? And he's like, everybody's talking about, yeah, he wants to be number one. And I got on the stage afterwards. I decided, yeah, I'll work with this guy. And I was like, but sorry, I'm not here to make you number one. And it was like, what? I said, I'm not here to make you number one. But I said, I will help you become the greatest. And you could see him like, oh, okay. Like he started thinking like the GOAT, the greatest of all time and so on. And then I had the audience. There was about 1,000 people in the room. And I said to them, let me tell you the difference. Because when you say GOAT and greatest of all time, this is another one. This is the condition that happened. Greatest of all time means that there's no one else. It can't be anybody else. It's like just that person. And then if you're not that, someone else gets it. Like, Ronaldo, Messi, which one do they go? It's like, is it Maradona? It's like, can't it be all of them?
Right.
And people are like, what? But they go, no. So I said, let me test something. And I don't know if people ever do it, the chat on here, but the thing is this, 1,000 people in the room. And I said to them, let me ask you a question. How many of you in the room believe you have the greatest mother or father or parents? Raise your hands, right? And there's a whole bunch of people raise their hand.
Sure.
I said, now let me check this. When you look at someone else raising their hand over there, you're like, hey, no, my parents are the greatest, like not yours, right? Are you now concerned about what their parents are doing to be in the great? Are you going to go and check it? Are you going to? No. And here's what's even more. Are your parents going to go and find out what they're doing to be? No. So their parents are the greatest and your parents are the greatest. So it can coexist. And what does greatest mean? It's like we've always said, be the better you, but for your people.
Yes.
Now, that's the bit about great. And then when we start coming into this, like, what did your parents do to become great? It's like Mike Tyson said, is he struggled to be a good man. The moment he got the concept of being a good man and having greatness and doing goodness at the same time,
yes,
that's when you get absolutely what we call authentic success, right? We've all been sold on the science of achievement to keep getting success, right? And like we've always said, you and I discuss it often, many of the achievers then use that same formula to achieve fulfillment, but it's not a science, it's an art.
yes.
It's a heart, right? So we could say mindset is a science and the heart bit is an art. And that's why I said to people, when it comes to doing good, people are like, oh, I've got to go and do some charity work. I've got to go and give some money. And I was like, no. This is where, we now live in a world, Chuck, where there's so many people about law of attraction and how to manifest things and do all of these things. And there's like a formula for it. Once again, it's like a formula. It's like how to achieve manifestation. I'm like,
happiness, success, prosperity. Let me teach you. I have a patented program to make sure that you can hit all of your life goals.
And then along comes Harry Singha and says, and Harry says to all the viewers here, it's like, what if there is a way that you could achieve far more than you could possibly imagine without you doing anything other than getting back to your nature? And some people, what does that involve? Hugging trees and so on. Actually, yeah, it might do. So the best way I can put it, Chuck, and I shared it with you a little earlier this year, or last year, really, right? Because we're in the new year.
Last year.
Like, this whole concept of we all seem to be driven to become great and achieve things and acquire things and have things. And I say to audiences that there's a store that we can all go to right now where pretty much you can get anything. It's called Amazon, right? So I always say to people, and I'll say directly to the viewer watching now, it's like, if you want something, you want to get a cap or a hat or whatever you call these things, wherever you're from, right? You can go onto Amazon, and the thing you want to manifest, the thing you want to have is the cap. You go on there, you find the cap, and you can press one button. It's called buy now. You can hit that one button, and guess what happens? Boom, like magic, like a miracle. It's on its way. You knew what you wanted to manifest. You're like, I want that thing. And then just press a button. We live in a world where you just press a button. It's on its way. It'll take maybe 1 or 2 days, unless you are what we call a prime manifester, right? But here's the thing. Here's the real question. What happens? Where does it go? Where is it being sent?
Mm-hmm.
This thing that you ordered, it may not be a cap. It might be, I want some more clients. Or I want to live in a beach house. Whatever your goal is in terms of achievement, right? But when you've ordered it, it's coming to your home address. It's coming to your registered address. It's coming to your home. So here's the real question. What happens if you're not home? And when I have this conversation with many people, I go, what happens when Amazon delivery comes and you're not home? They're like, oh, it gets sent back. No. Amazon is too busy fulfilling. It never takes anything back. Right? And then they go, oh, they like leave it outside. Yeah, some people are leaving it outside, right? But usually it's gone to your neighbor. It's gone to your neighbor, right? So no one takes it back anymore. And they usually leave it with your neighbor, right? So let's play this now. What if there was a store that was far more infinite than Amazon? And it's called the universe. Whatever people want to call it, the universe, God, whatever high energy that is out there. Imagine there's a store called Universe, and it can provide you with anything you want in terms of whatever your best life is. And you think there's a gap between where you are now and what your best life is. Sure. You're like, oh, I want to have this, I want to have that, right? But you think you've got to hustle to get there, right?
Right.
Yeah, you got to put the work in, but it's not 100% hustle. It's not all the, buy me, I'll do this, I'll fix it, I'll make it happen, I'll do this, I'll get the team, I'll do it. Yeah, you got to do the work. But it doesn't all have to be hustle if you can bring in the doing good. So here's the real question. Imagine you put out an order. I wanna do a trip. I wanna create this in my life. I wanna create a business, or I wanna become a teacher. I wanna become something. I wanna do this. I want this. I want that. Whatever it is, you put it out there to the universe. You don't even have to press buy now. Why? Because it already knows you want it. That's the other little concept. We think we have to ask from the energy that can provide absolutely anything. Do you not think it would already know what you desire?
It's the ultimate AI.
This is it. It would. But I'm going to do a little sidestep, and I'll come back to this bit. The sidestep is this. When I was talking to you, Chuck, before, I said, when I have a conversation with the force that can provide me anything, the number one thing I'm usually asking is, what can I do for you?
Right.
My life has been built on this add value first, and then you may not get in return for the person you're serving. It will come back from somewhere else, right? But if I ask the thing that could provide me anything, what do you want? And I go and do that for that entity is going to give me back more than I could possibly imagine, from sources that I couldn't even imagine. The nonsense. So now let's get back to this thing that you ordered from the universe. Once again, where is it going to be sent to? Your home. Now let me ask that question. What happens when you want that car, the client, the holiday, whatever experience it is you want to have, and you're not home? Where does it go? Your neighbor.
Next
And
door.
you know what your neighbor looks like? you're looking on your social media, go, hey, how comes Chuck has got that? Hey, how comes Chuck is on that trip? How come Harry Singer's on that trip, right? How come, oh my gosh, oh, look at, oh my God, oh, that's what I wanted.
Yep.
Well, guess what? It came to you, but you weren't at home. And it went to someone else that wanted it, but they were home. So the real question everyone should be asking is, how do you stay at home? They're like, shit, I'm going to stay at home every day? Are you kidding me? I got a business to run. I'm like, hey, if I could show you a way to be at home, especially for the delivery from natural forces that have always been there. And that's where I created the acronym that young kid that was picking up litter, and we said a good kid, they were doing one of those, what I call virtues.
Yes.
Create these four virtues. This is not my invention. It's like from the Tao Te Ching and many other literatures and things that are written there about what is our core nature as a human being when it comes to doing good. Just look at little kids, right? Look at the stuff that's been sucked out of them, right? What do you define as doing good? I've spent a lot of time researching it, and it's come down to four things, and then I coined them into a model called home, which can be really handy when we say stay at home. So I'll break them down real quick, Chuck, and then you can unwrap any of them. So H, and I've got to pre-frame it with this. These four things are not something else to add into your to-do list. I say it again and again. So these four things aren't about a hustle. I've got to go and do it. Because guess what? You're switching from got to do it to you get to do it, right? You get to do it. So I want to give you those. So H-O-M-E, H-O-M-E, H is honor and love and respect all living things, including yourself. Now, for some of you going, Harry, that's going to be a hustle, right? It's not going to be a hustle. It might be a challenge because you're like, hey, what does that mean? Does that mean like I've got to become vegetarian? I've got to hug trees? I'm like, home is a destination. So if you're like, if you in this moment and you tomorrow morning or whatever you decide, right, hey, I want to be at home. So what am I saying in practicality? Can you make sure that you exercise that muscle and conditioning and the heart set and the mindset into today? You know what? I'm going to do something that shows that I have reverence for living things. Look at a tree, smile at an animal, pat an animal, look at another person and go, hey, you know what? But remember the good kid picking up litter? What are they doing? They're honoring living things, meaning they're looking after the planet. If you can do something and you don't need to even show anybody you're doing it, yeah, just do it. Who are you showing? Amazon? No, the universe, right? So the universe will see you having respect and reverence and unconditional love for living things, but also yourself. And I would start with that one. Can you show love for yourself? Right? So that's the first one, H. And then O, and for years, Chuck, you've known me, I've been doing what I've been doing since in my early teens. As a kid that grew up in domestic violence with an alcoholic father, and I was sleeping rough on the streets of Central London at 12 and 13, people go, Harry, with all of that abuse, with all of those experiences, how can you have so much love in your heart? And I'm like, it's because of those things, right?
Exactly.
But what guided me was just helping other people. And I was helping other people because I needed to, right? But after a while, when I healed myself and I actually realized that there was more to life than just hustling, I realized that I could help people because I wanted to and I got to. And what was that? That was the O. The O was others. Do things for others, expecting nothing back in return. That doesn't mean stop your business and give everybody everything for free. No, it just means within your daily routine, within your habits, you become a person that's doing good in terms of loving living things and also doing something sometimes for people that expecting nothing back in return from them. That's doing for others. And then the third one was M. And M in that terms is about, I called it manners because I needed to fit the acronym of home because I wanted that, right? So, complete transparency. But in the manners part, it's about it's about kindness and compassion, but it's more about the communication. So it's not just honoring and loving, and it's like speaking and communicating to others with kindness and compassion, especially those that have been unkind to you. That's a mission. And it can go even deeper into, like, not entertaining violence. It's like not watching those gangster movies. It's hard for me. I'm from East London, so I'm like watching movies like Top Boy and so on, right? I grew up with that. But it was like, okay, what can I do, right? What can I do to take me a couple of steps into having manners? Having manners is doing good, right? Because you remember that kid that's doing good, that girl, oh, she's a good girl, she's a good boy, whatever it is, right? That's a good this, even like a good dog, right? You're like, that's a good dog. What they doing? Oh, they were smiling when people came around. So the manners, right? But they communicating with compassion. If someone is making you angry, listen to that, making you angry.
Right.
Someone may be doing something that's breaking your rule, but how you respond, you're in control. And if you respond with kindness, because that's who you are, you're at home.
Yes.
And the universe is watching. And then the last one, Chuck, E. It's like, you've heard me. Oh, man, what's the synchronicity of that? You introduced me as the guy with the little bit more cocoa skin or whatever, mocha skin. So if you guys hadn't noticed, I'm Indian of origin. Right? I'm an Indo-British venture with an East London accent, right? But here's the thing. I say to people like Indians, when we go to our relative's house, anybody that's elder, like we go to an auntie's house, it's like Auntie G, Uncle G, Nanny G, right? When we call them G at the end. And what does that mean? G simply means respect, like Auntie G, so I respect you. Uncle G, like, otherwise it's like Chuck. Right? It's like people call me Harry, but there are younger kids in India or whatever, they go Harry G. They call me Harry G. It doesn't have to be like uncle, it's just Harry G. And I usually play with people and go, who's the most important G? What's the most important G? And people go, Mummy G. And I go, no, energy, right? And then they're thinking, oh, it's all about energy. But let me get super clear, Chuck. Like, I when I want to do so, when I get obsessed with things, not in an unhealthy way. I make it an obsession that I want to understand things. And when I was coming out with this stuff about energy, what it really meant in terms of a virtue is, if you believe that there is some force like universe, God, love, light, whatever you want to call it, if you believe that exists, then surely it exists within you.
Yes.
And if this force is limitless, and it's in you, the E in the energy means live your life from your highest energy. So energy actually is the label for God. It's like, when I say energy, I'm talking about whatever you refer to, God, universe, love, light, that's energy. Your highest energy is what I call energy. Yeah. But here's the real kicker about it. This is really about you being honest and truthful to your limitless. So it's about you saying, what would God do in this situation? What would love do in this situation? What would the universe do in this situation? And if you're doing that, you're at home.
Yes.
But I want you to absolutely get clear that when I say energy, I studied it and I actually found out that I knew what the G meant, but what on earth does ener mean, right? Have you ever checked out what the word ener means, Chuck?
I have not.
You're about to find out, right? This is the crazy thing. Like, even before I say ener, when I started studying virtues, I thought, let me study what the word virtue is. And I thought, I don't actually know. So let me get the thing. And virtues are, like, remember, values, things that are important to us.
Yes.
And we live in a world where that's the major problem, because one person thinks something's important, another person thinks something important, conflict. One country thinks something important, another country thinks something, war, right? But here's the thing. Individuals have conflicts because their values are so close to each other.
Sure.
This is the problem. We live in a world, we've got so many values, so many things are important to us. This is where that thing, but when you go deeper into virtues, what is a virtue? a behavior that demonstrates a high standard of ethics and morals. I was like, okay, now I'm validating all this stuff that I've been talking about, right? Rather than just reading. I was like, okay, so that's what virtue's like that kid that was picking up the litter, doing something that's a high standard of ethics and morals. Cool. So our virtues could just be morals, but we're giving you those four. But now I want you to get what enna is, Chuck. I found out the definition of enna is the most important thing within a group or an organism, right? Enna, meaning the number one thing. So I was like, energy, well, respect, the number one thing, your highest energy, your number one energy. That's what energy stands for. I've got people taking my word, ENERJI, and they're creating clothing brands out of it, right? I'm like, you took my stuff. I'm like, let it go. But energy is the last part of the HOME, Chuck. So if you are honoring and loving living things, including yourself, if you are serving others and expecting nothing back in return, you're at home. If you got manners where you're communicating to others with kindness and compassion, especially the ones that are unkind to you, you're at home. And if you are living from your energy, then you're at home.
That's brilliant.
Just doing that, the universe will give you things. And here's how it manifests, Chuck. How many times have we experienced something that we did not plan?
Oh.
Think about some of the most amazing things in our life. You didn't put that in your business plan. Yeah, sure, some things were there, but some of the most amazing things that happen in life, they weren't planned. They were gifts from the universe.
Yes.
So that, I think I'll stop there. Did you take it?
Oh, I love this. And I was just thinking about like meeting the love of your life. I don't know that most people go out and go, tonight's the night. I'm going to, today is the day.
Yeah.
It's like, so what's the difference to your point? That energy, the first thing, the number one thing, and I go, being yourself. In life, when we get to, and we decide to be our true authentic selves, we resonate at a certain frequency energy, and I go, that's when abundance flows to you. It's not when you're living in a sphere of conflict and getting stuck in your head. And you said something earlier, Harry, that is so brilliant, and that is everything that we've been discussing has a nuance to it. And the nuance is when we judge or compare to someone else. There's a difference between aspiration, inspiration, and then being critical or comparison. And what's the difference? I said, I can be inspired by someone, not necessarily to be like them, but I notice where their energy's at, and that draws my energy out. And I go, that's inspiration. In fact, that's even aspirational, where you just feel elevated again because you're living home.
Yeah, 100%.
The comparison and judgment is when we go cognitive, and now we're like, well, compared to others, my life is not so bad, and it's like, whoa, your life is a blessing. Your worst day is, I guarantee you, someone's best day.
100%. And when you said about judgment, it reminds me the late Dr. Wayne Dyer. I remember many things he taught me. It was like one of those quotes about judgments blind us from the truth beyond our senses.
Yes.
It's like, so we make this judgment about someone, but the whole story. Someone with their kids, and the kids are being really ruly, and you go, hey dude, can you not look after your kids? And the guy goes, oh, I'm so sorry, they just lost their mother, and I lost my wife. And suddenly everything changes, right?
Perspective, right?
We made that judgment.
Yes.
And you never know what people are going through. And we see people doing some of the worst things and some of the best things. But Chuck, I want to say to you, like, I sometimes see people perceived as doing some of the greatest things, and then you find out that they're actually worse than those others that are overtly doing. But it's like you say, judgment is up here. And one of the other things I'd say to everybody when it comes to living your best life and you're using these virtues, sometimes people misunderstand what I say or others say, and people go, oh, so is this like you're you're always on another level. It's like you don't do any work and you just like manifest and sit there and chant and no, 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 no. Because I genuinely believe if you want to live in a place where you are totally connected to consciousness and the highest, you may as well become a monk, right? But if you want to live the human experience, right, that's going to involve pain, challenges, emotions, and so on. And that's part of living, right? That's part of the experience that you're here for. But I live by a rule. I call it 60-40. And I'd call it 60-40 because that's where I am in my life. Because at one point I was on like 90-10. And what do I mean by that? And it's a good gauge for you. When I was 90-10, it was I was doing the hustle, the hustle, the hustle, the hustle, and I put everything on what we're going to do here. This is how we're going to do it. I got this plan to do this. And if I had a plan B, I had a plan C, we'd do this, we'd do that. And if that doesn't work, I'll call this person, I'll call Chuck, I'll call them, and we'll fix it, we'll make this. And then there was 10% of like, okay, just switch off for a little while. And it was those moments when I switched off for a little while, this stuff started to happen, right? But I was, and then you sometimes get to a point where you don't have that space for stuff to happen. So now I actually live my life from a 60-40. That means if I got a project that I'm working on, like if I go on a tour, I'm traveling countries and continents and hopping from one to the other. And usually back in like about 10, 15 years ago, it'd be like, okay, I'm not with my family. Fill the calendar. Let's fill the day. The morning we're going to do this, then we do this, then we do that. We travel to this. And the only buffer time we had was for travel, right? And now my trips are like, hey, we got 3 days where we're doing nothing. I said, leave that, right? Leave that. They go, what for? What for? Just leave it. And I'm looking for synchronicities. I'm looking for 3 synchronicities, 3 people to mention, let's go to Miami and something's happening. Then I'll be in Miami, right? And why? Because it wasn't planned. It wasn't planned. And I'm listening for that. And like, you know, right now, Chuck, the biggest project I've got on my mind around the doing good, doing great is the Youth Doing Great project.
Yes.
Like kids, teenagers from every single country, 1,500 teenagers representing every single country, creating a doing good project, getting all the personal development. We support them for 10 years. Now, guess what? I've got to do the hustle with that. I've got to get the people in. We've got to actually get some money in. We've got to go there. I've got to travel to places. I've got to do the hustle. But 40% is, let's see what the universe does.
Yes.
Because I'm co-creating with the universe. I don't believe I'm creating anything. It's theirs. We just want to experience it, right? So this is that cool thing where I could have things in my plan, and then I have the time when I'm not doing anything. I'll get on a call with Chuck and we just talk, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, there you go. Oh, that we didn't plan that. We couldn't have even thought of that, and boom, that's great. And that's what happens. So I make sure I've surrounded myself with other people who are leaving space.
Yes.
For their energy to come in and do stuff, and then I ride on the towers of that. But to have your best life, if you don't create the space, and when I say space, time, energy, money, resources, for the opportunities when they come, you're not going to be able to take them. You're not going to be able to take them. And those opportunities are far greater than anything you could have planned or imagined to get you to where you want to go.
There's a beautiful line, and it was by a composer, and his whole intention was, he said, to find the beauty in the negative space. And they're like, it's when the notes aren't playing. It's when there's that gentle pause. It's when there's a crescendo and then there's a moment. And you let people feel and emote what that is to be in that moment. We are so busy doing our best that sometimes we fail to be our best. And you know my family motto, and that is, when you're being your best, you'll always do your best. Whatever that is in that moment, that means living in that authenticity. It's a yes and. It's always a yes and. It's like yes and being clear. Yes and being confused. Yes and being scared. Yes and being agitated. Yes and. It's like as if someone were to tell you that taking on such a monumental project, and I love you, brother, it's a beautiful, beautiful testament to who you are. and helping elevate consciousness as AI is advancing, as intelligence quotients are advancing. And these are some of the things that don't get taught in regular life. It's like these types of conversations, I really wish were more of a part of a curriculum
Yeah.
of life skills
Yeah.
that young adults get to experience. So what if there was an opportunity for less confusion? What if they were able to find peace and sanctity within themselves? They were able to find home. They were able to find the honor and not just for themselves, but for others, and then go ahead and marry that to manners and an energy. It's like, how would this shift our existence? And then I'm reminded that those that are the mentors get to live this example as well. It's not just a talk about it.
Beautiful. You said something there, Chuck, when it's like, I remember when AI was hitting the scene and people were talking about AI, and everyone asking me, how do you use AI? And I would do the thing. And then I said to everybody, I remember being at an event, I can't remember where it was, but I remember saying, oh, AI might be hitting the scene now. And I said, but UI has always been with us. People are looking at me. And I remember I was making it up in that moment, right? It's like it just came to me at that moment. It's another one of those in that 40% space, right? I'm a genuine believer that some of the stuff I come out with, I don't know where it's come from. But I'm going to tell you where it came from. It came from UI, universal intelligence.
Yes.
Right? And universal intelligence, when we realize that when we slow down and we reconnect with our energy, and it doesn't have to be some full protocol on meditation or yoga, whatever you're going to do. But if you can slow down and reconnect, you're going to be amazed with what you're connected with.
Yes.
And if all of that intelligence exists, if your energy is within you, you can tap into that. If you are plugged in, like the Matrix type thing. I don't mind going as woohoo as anybody wants to, but that's definitely there. The other part you were saying is, it reminded me was, live your life guided by your values whilst being in your virtues.
Yes.
Then you will have whatever balance you need to have, right? Because values will guide us. Values is what helps us make our decisions.
Yes.
But when you know that you now have something that you can consciously say that I'm back to my core virtues. These are not Harry Singer's virtues. These are like, they're given to us. They're the natural virtues for us in our energy, in our highest energy. You have love and respect for all living things. Why? Because you're all interconnected, right? Doing things for others. That's what the holy grail is for fulfillment. You came here to do something for others, right? M, manners, how you're communicating with people, compassion, kindness, and being your truth, being your energy. Those are your core things. A tree will still be a tree tomorrow, no matter how much you curse it. The sun is still going to be the sun, whether you go, you're too hot or you're not there anymore. It's always there. And the sun is never going to say to you, dude, I gave you that heat and that light for all those years and you owe me. Never. Why? Because it's the sun. Who are you? Be you. This is who you are. Right?
And that's the blessing, living in the nature of the moment.
This is it. This is it. It's not about nature just in terms of trees. It's your core nature.
Yes.
Know that. Be that. And just allow it. That's all. It's not hustle. That's a cool way of putting it. There's the hustle, and then here's the allowing. Remember, here's what I got to do. Here's what I get to do.
That's
just
it.
Remind yourself. Remind yourself.
Harry, how do people find out more about your mission and your beautiful organization? As you run an amazing foundation. What's the website that folks can visit to come and check out Harry Singha?
Here's the thing, is like, Harry Singer is a constant moving thing, right? So I would always say on all of social media, it's like Harry Singer official.
Yep.
Because there's a few other people that they're like, they're Harry Singh. And I'm like, no, I'm Harry Singer. But yeah, anything, Harry Singer official, LinkedIn, Instagram, you'll see what I'm up to there. And it's like, for me, it's more it depends on what people are interested in. You want to know more about the Youth Doing Great project, just send us a message saying Youth Doing Great. If it's speaking, just put speaking. And it's like, Chuck knows that my mission is, when it comes to whatever you're doing, I want to make sure that if I have a speaker training program, I want to give for free or low cost to the masses, but I want it to be the highest value. Why? Because I want to save 40% of my time doing other stuff. So then I'll charge premium to other people. That's just how my mind works, right? But don't just give free stuff. I like to give. So if people want speaking, they can reach out to me. We have something for them. But when it comes to this whole doing good, doing great, the book is coming out once I complete the first cycle of the Youth Doing Great. So the book is going to be called Doing Good, Doing Great. But yeah, I mean, if you reach out to me, it's like, say, hey, I was on YBL and it was on this thing, and just share what's on your heart. That's what I'm interested in, right? So I live that life where it's not about selling anything to people. It's about aligning with people who have a desire and outcome. If you want to serve and you want to serve more, send me a message. Go, hey, Harry, how can I serve more? And I'll guarantee you I'll help you with that. So yeah, that's Harry Singha Official. You've got the name with the Singa, not ER, right? That's it. But yeah, the foundation is doing stuff for young people and vulnerable women, because that's where I came from. You know, as a child, they experienced it, and then my mum went through it. But yeah, that's it. But I'm so blessed that I get to be with so many other amazing people that are doing great things, right? And they're doing great things while they're doing good. That's what it is.
I love you, brother. Thank you for joining us tonight. And for everyone out there, check us out again. The show can also be heard on the Spanglish Radio Network. Please check us out for all the news and the programming. Spanglish World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, live it. Love you, brother. Thank you for always sharing your graces and your time.